Hey weirdos, this is not the first, it's not the second, it is the third time that I have tried to shoot this God-blessed 6-month Vanniversary, and it has failed every single time. The first time I did it, I used the GoPro and the wireless mic, and I tested the audio, and I tested it again, and then I shot a 45-minute Vanniversary. All kinds of elaborate bullshit, and none of the audio recorded. In fact, let me fix this thing. So if that wasn't frustrating enough, then I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to go through all that again. So I'll do a live feed. So I set the whole thing up, and I set the time, and I'm like doing all this stuff, and I was going to do it on Patreon first to say an extra special thank you to those people, because I know I say this a lot, but without Patreon and without the folks on PayPal, this would never have lasted 6 months. For the love of God, it is such a myth that you make a lot of money on YouTube. Maybe if you have over 1 million subscribers, not Casey Roman. So they are extra special. I was going to do it on Patreon first. I set it up, I get it going, I announce it, and then it won't let me go live because I have to download all this bullshit software. I am very grateful for Patreon, but somebody is going to wipe the floor with them because they use you got to like go on YouTube and then Vimeo and then download. Anyway, see, I'm out of Xanax right now. But I tend to do some of my best work when I am category 5 Ninja Jinja, and that's where I am right now. Anyway, so it's a nice rainy day, and once you get on the road, will learn to love rainy days, because rainy days, especially in the summer, mean that you will not bake in your van at night. So I am thrilled to have a rainy day. I am also, let's head up to the front. If you can see, that is a hotel. Casey got to stay in a hotel. Now, when I have been sick, which I am still dealing with this cold, I don't know how that is, but I am. When I've been sick, when I've been crazy hot in this van, read the comments and people will say, well, just get a cheap motel. Oh, hell no. Now, some of my documentaries are up on YouTube, and if you've watched any of them, you know that I shot a lot of those documentaries in cheap hotels. I know what goes on there. If you take a blacklight into a cheap motel room, and this is not a cheap motel room, but some other roadside abyss of STDs, and you shine that blacklight around, it will look like a Jackson Pollock painting of sperm. It is disgusting. There's no way in hell that I'm laying this pristine creation of God on a sperm-soaked bedspread. Absolutely not. So this is a really nice hotel, and the fact that I'm here at this hotel and why is such a treat for the 6-month Vanniversary. So when I was in Detroit, sleeping in a Detroit Walmart parking lot at night playing the game, was that a firework or was it gunshots? Sleeping in a Detroit Walmart parking lot will put hair on your chest. It will make you a woman. I get an email from a lady who referred to herself as a grandma, and she said that she had a company out over here on the Northeast, and they needed some help telling their story, and did I do some corporate consulting or training. Now, I mostly have worked with law enforcement, but I said, yeah, storytelling has some key foundational principles, and they can be used anywhere. But I didn't think she was really serious. So when I got over here to the Northeast, which, let me tell you something, I'm going to pray for you if you have anything bigger than a Class C and you try to go around the Northeast. I will get to that in a second. So I'm fighting people in traffic, and I'm trying to get home pretty hard at this point. I've already traveled this section of the country. I have got to deal with this van, figure out the next chapter of this whole story. So I'm kind of rocking and rolling. So I sent her an email back, and I'm like, hey, I'm not sure if you're still interested. I'm totally expecting her to say, oh yeah, this isn't a good time. She says, okay, well, we're about 4 hours away. I'll book your hotel room. So for the past 2 nights, 3 days, I have been sleeping in air conditioning. I've been sleeping like a baby. I've had a breakfast bar. And I have been teaching people who are doing some amazing work that is saving lives how to better tell the story of who they are and what they do. And it has been incredibly rewarding. I had a magnificent time, and it was such a challenge because the sector that they work in is not my world. I don't understand it. Some of it they can't even talk about. So how do you tell that story? So I got to really engage my brain again, and I love problem solving. I am a black belt INTJ on the Myers-Briggs. We are not people, but if we've got a big problem that we can like get our claws into, like we can go forever on that kind of energy. So I've had a great time, and my point of telling you that story is that 6 months ago, I was crossing the Cape Fear Bridge in this here van. I thought I'd be gone for 3 weeks. I had no idea how I was going to afford it. And I was scared to death. 6 months later, because I was willing to be afraid and to do it regardless, I was teaching people this week about something that I love, that I'm very passionate about, in a city that I don't get to go to a lot. And I was sitting down at a table with people who have done things that I can only describe as the height of badassery. And it really opened my eyes to just everything that's kind of going on in the world. You drive past these office complexes and maybe you don't think anything cool is going on in there. There's cool stuff going on everywhere. That's 6 months later. So it just reminds me of like the Dr. Seuss story, like, oh, the places you will go, right? Okay, so I am like holed up in the back lot of their hotel lobby because I tried to do the live feed in there. It totally bombed. We're gonna rock and roll again. If this video doesn't work, we will skip to the 7th month Vanniversary because I can't take it anymore. I gotta get going. I got things to do. So when I get back, I've still got a couple places to stop at, but I am going to list the van for sale first to see if I get an offer that I feel fairly compensates the van and the labor and what went into it. And then if I sell it, I'll buy another one or some kind of vehicle and do a new ride and a new build. If I don't get an offer that I think, and let me just say that I've worked out all the kinks on this van. The only thing that I would recommend the next person put in is that second vent in the back. And other than that, I still think she is absolutely fantastic. But I've learned that I am working on the road. I am no trust fund baby. And especially if I'm going to have the opportunity to do more training and working with people and like going to, like, I need workspace. I just need to move the layout around. But this may work for somebody as it is, and there are a lot of you who I know do not have the will or the interest to do a van build from scratch yourself. So if someone wants to buy it, I'll buy it. I'll do a whole new one from scratch. We'll go through the whole rigmarole. Anyway, and if not, if I don't get an offer, then I will rip everything out and redo what I have. So that's the plan. And then I got to figure out what the next chapter for me is. So we got a lot ahead of us. But moving back to what I said about the Northeast. In the Northeast, so there's like no Walmart that's a super Walmart. They're very rare, which means you're not allowed to park there overnight. Finding a Cracker Barrel, nope. Cabela's, nope. I mean, few and far between. So boondocking, parking overnight in the Northeast is a real emmer effer. There are so many people here, and I'm originally from New Jersey. I am used to seeing traffic, but I'm telling you, an hour drive is at least 4. Traffic is insane. The roads are narrow, and they are packed. If you are trying to go anywhere up in the Northeast, and you are not in the rural part of the Northeast, if you try to tackle any of these cities, Washington, D.C., Boston, New York City, anything bigger than a van, and you are going to have an absolute nightmare. And if you stay in RV parks, you will be so far away that you will need to be towing a vehicle to get anywhere close to them. It's really been a challenge. I am super excited to see a highway of nothing but hayfields again real soon. And cows. We all know how much I love cows. Okay, so we talked about that. As always, I have my notes of things I've noticed that people have been asking about. Half a year on the road. Okay, so the big issue that I've been talking about a lot lately is heat. So effing hot. Now, someone will be like, oh, you didn't know that in the summer it gets hot? Yes, Dingleberry, I know that in the summer it gets hot. I just didn't think up in Maine and New Hampshire that it would be close to 100 degrees. So that said, all the cooking, and somewhere down here is my stove. So the stove used to be over here, and now it's on the ground because at night I open this door and the stove goes out on the pavement, And I remember when I first started and I was like shutting everything and like nearly dying of carbon monoxide poisoning because I was so afraid that someone would see what I was doing. And now I don't care. I will cook on your front lawn. I don't give a shit. So I will throw the stove outside and everything has to be cooked outside. That's a real joy when it's raining or drizzling like this. But that's because when you cook in your van, it gets so hot in here. Even if I had the ceiling vent in the back, it would still get hot in here. Propane is a very wet, just like heat. It's great in the winter. Ooh, so nice in the winter. So I'm always cooking out here, which means this door is open a lot. And then at night at around 6 or 7 p.m., I have to go through this whole rigmarole of cooling down the van. So that means opening the sliding door. That means opening the back doors, opening all the windows up front, and then even like I have to open up all the drawers in the kitchen and cabinets because there's hot air trapped in there. And when you slide the door at night, you'll feel like this burst of heat come up through because it's just been contained in here. So you have to find somewhere that is safe enough to do that. And you're just very exposed when you leave all your doors and windows open because, you know, God knows who's walking around these parking lots at night. You're in a city you don't know. And people can see in your van, they can see what you have in there. So something I've noticed is that all RV and van people are dealing with the heat. And so I'll be in like, you know, probably a Walmart parking lot, but less so now. And I'll see van people and RVers leave the side door open at night to sleep. Or, you know, it's usually a woman who is walking her dog around a parking lot at 2 o'clock in the morning because shelter dog has to go to the bathroom. This kind of speaks to why I think you're absolutely insane if you take a dog. But anyway. Again, I shot a lot of my documentaries in parking lots. And what goes on in a parking lot at night, no matter what kind of store you're sleeping in, is a social experiment. On one side of the lot, you got Jane and Bill, who are retirees. They've got a Class A. All 8 of their TVs in their Class A are on, of course. They never come out. You never see them. On the other side of the lot, you've got, you know, Xander and Cleavage Caitlin, Man Bun and Cleavage Caitlin, and some other young millennial couples, usually in Class C's. And they're, you know, 1.5 children and shelter dog with 3 legs. And, you know, they're over there. And then you've got me. And then you've got people in poverty who sleep in their cars full time. And then you've got people doing drugs. And you can watch people do like, you know, they drive by and like pass off drugs. And if you stay in a truck stop, you'll see a lot of prostitution go on late at night in and out of those cars. None of this is unusual to me. I made a career out of these sorts of issues. But when I see people, RVers, walking around these parking lots to cool down late at night or walking around to walk the dog, and I'm like, that guy is not wrapping the seatbelt around his arm, Caitlin, to test its durability. It's because he's going to put a needle in his arm. Like, young lady, get back in your van. I mean, it's not safe. The other thing that you will notice when you have a van conversion, probably less so in RV, is that, you know, people have heard about these, they think they're cool, they want to look at them. And so anytime I leave this open and I have not backed it up to the woods or a curb, someone will come up to the van and approach and they'll want to see the inside of it. And most of the time that's fine. 100% of the time it scares the hell out of me because I will be turned this way, like cooking or doing something, and then I'll just feel this presence behind me and you whip around and like there's, you know, a human head right there. The other thing people do that's really bizarre is when they want to look at the van, if you say yeah and start like giving them kind of the tour, I'd like more than a few people will then step up into the van, like welcome themselves into the van. And that's when like, where is it? You know, like this comes out because I'm like, man, what the fuck are you doing? This is my home. Get out of here. I don't think anyone does it maliciously. I think, you know, they just, for them, it's like, you know, going to look at an RV at an RV store, but this is my home. So the whole point of the story is that in the summer, as you are leaving, windows and doors open or maybe sitting outside. That's the other thing that like the millennials do is they put a little card table outside and chairs late at night. It's not a campground, it's a parking lot. That is not safe. And it's also not part of the deal of sleeping in someone else's private property. This is how this stuff is going to get ruined for the rest of us. Anyway, just know that the more, as it gets hot and as you kind of spend more time outside and leave these doors open, you just have to really be conscious of safety and privacy. For that reason, I would really recommend putting a mirror like here at the kitchen, because you spend a lot of time at the kitchen, and in my case, maybe another one right here. And then that way, if someone walks up behind, I'm going to see it immediately and turn around. Okay. I think I made myself clear on all the issues of privacy and safety. Damp rid. This is a great day to talk about damp rid because it's very damp out, so it'll be damp inside the van. Initially, if you watch my original videos, I was buying those big, expensive buckets of damp rid. And I had the hanging damp rid. And because everyone is so freaked out about mold in a van. There's no point to having the damp rid. Save your money. Look at how big this door is and window. Every time you open this, whatever environment, humidity, temperature, whatever is outside will now be inside. You are essentially trying to dehumidify the ozone. It's silly. The only place that I can think of where it would be really worthy to have one is underneath the, where the sink, the water. Just because sometimes when I fill up the water container, I'll spill water and then it's in there, and so you just kind of want to keep that area dry so that the wood is in good shape. But otherwise, once you open these doors and windows, all bets are off on controlling the humidity in here, so there's really no point to spend a lot of money on damp rid. That said, if we played the game, things that people swore would happen that have not happened. Number one would be mold. Let's take a look, shall we? Here's the bed. Nope. No mold. Remember we went through that shit show where people were saying, if I didn't drill holes in this platform bed, my body heat and my body moisture would grow mold under here and it would cause me to be infertile and shorten my lifespan? I added those two parts. Nobody said that, but I mean, it was a ridiculous argument. And it's because they saw this one couple, I think, who spilled a cup of water on a mattress that they had not put a mattress protector on. Duh. And the mattress got moldy. Well, as it turns out, if you put a mattress protector on, it doesn't get moldy. Crazy! Also on the game of things that people said would happen that have not. This metal ceiling, people said, oh, you're gonna have so much road noise, it's gonna be like chattering and Nope, no road noise. I don't know why everyone's so concerned with road noise. That stupid liner that's $70 a bag that you saw me put on one side where people say that it cuts down on road noise. You don't care about road noise when you are driving. You care about sleep noise, and that stuff is not going to do anything for sleep noise. These do not rattle. People said that because I had the air conditioner right there, and because there's less space between my head and a metal ceiling, that my breath would cause all of this to get really damp and the ceiling would get wet and moldy. Dry as a bone. I have never ever had moisture collect on this ceiling, and I did think that maybe when the air conditioner was cranking out cold air that it would get kind of like wet and condensation right here. Never happened. It doesn't smell bad in here. I do not have mold issues in here. I'm not quite sure where all of those theories came from, but none of that has happened. Also, people said, these pretty plaster medallions that I made, they said, well, those are gonna crack and fall off because essentially the van is going through a mini earthquake every time you drive and blah, blah, blah. They've not moved. Not a single crack. None. Still here. Still here. These are still here. Captain Michael Hamby's signature is still here. Nothing, all still there. Yep, this doesn't rattle. Yeah, nothing has fallen off. The other thing people said would happen is that I got open shelves for food and toiletries, and they said, if you don't secure those down with bungee cords and rope, everything in them is gonna fly off the shelves. If any of this becomes levitated, it's because the van is rolling over, in which case my issues are so much bigger than the fact that I have open shelves. Nothing is fallen over. This hasn't slammed down. I mean, and I've hit some major potholes. No issues. None. You just don't leave stuff unsecure on the countertop and you will be absolutely fine. Okay, what's next? Toll money. The other thing that the Northeast likes to do is charge for toll money. If you even look at their roads, they have a toll. Driving down here, I went through 3 states, and to leave one, you paid a toll, and to enter the next one, you paid a toll. I went through at least $40 in tolls. It was nuts. You pay a little bit more for some tolls because you have a big van or an RV. At least I did. I have a really bad habit since I live back on this side is to leave my wallet and money back here because I don't want a crackhead to steal it out of the front. So just keep, and plus I just don't use cash anymore because it's 2019. So keep at least some bills up front for tolls, because what I've had to do at more than a few tolls is stop, lean out the window, apologize for being ill-prepared, and then run back here, and I'll let you guess how everyone behind me reacts to that. So keep some money for tolls. I do not recommend rerouting your entire drive to avoid tolls. You will just spend a lot of money on gas. In that same breath, one of the pieces of feedback I got before I left was to only take the back roads. Never take a highway, only take and it sounds so romantic. And a lot of people who are planning to drive have said that to me, that they're only taking back roads. Let me tell you something about back roads. Back roads are not maintained like highways. So you will have potholes, you will have dead deer, you will have winding curves, you will have people driving like a bat out of hell. Back roads are really beautiful, but they are not entirely efficient when you are covering long distances. And the most important thing is they are usually not properly maintained. So initially when I started and I was only driving 100 miles a day, I was more willing to meander. And then when I took the back roads to Pennsylvania and I slammed so many potholes so hard that the batteries crashed through the platform in the back, which has now been completely secured, I learned why sometimes a highway is just God's gift to travelers. So please don't feel, if you are trying to map out your route, that you have to keep a certain amount of mileage a day, or if you take a highway, that you will be shortchanging your trip. Sometimes after you've been running around all day and you're tired, there is nothing that is nicer to see than a well-lit 4-lane highway and the big blue majestic sign that spells out Walmart. Oh, the West Coast van lifers would watch this and be absolutely horrified because they're all about their BLM land. Okay, so I talked about all the cooking outside. Also, in regards to cooking outside, to manage heat inside your van in the summer, I now only buy frozen vegetables. Here's why. When you buy fresh vegetables and you are cooking on a propane stove, to render down fresh vegetables takes much, much longer, which means you are just pumping this baby full of heat for probably double to triple the time. So for that reason, now I buy frozen bags of vegetables. They defrost all day long inside the double sink, which I still think is the greatest thing in the world in a van. And then they're way quicker to cook. So when you start getting into the summer months, you've got to come up with a lot of efficiencies for cooking. Cooking brown rice or noodles, I would say especially brown, I mean some of that stuff I buy like already cooked pretty much, because I do not want to be stirring a pot that is blowing heat in this van for 45 minutes. Nope. All right, next. Seat covers. So that is kind of the only thing up in the front that I will still maintain. Was a great choice on my part. Let's go up into the front of the van and let me get my last look at an air-conditioned bed. When I got here, they said, Miss Roman, will you need extra pillows? And I said, yes. And they said, how many? And I just said, yes. All of them. I built a 4 out of pillows. Oh, it was so comfortable. It was great. I still maintain that seat covers, especially in the summer, steering wheel cover is absolutely essential. You will have swamp ass and like the bra sweat when it's hot out and you're walking around and you're traveling. You do not want to get in your van and let your body nest seep into your brand new upholstery. Your seats will get filthy and so will your seat belt. So these are great. I think I got these for 25 bucks at Walmart, and I can rip them off and throw them in the washing machine, and the seats underneath are like brand new. So take care of the van up front. This, remember, I told you I use the front like my mudroom. I take my dirty shoes off here. I take my rain jacket off here. And you just do not want to get these seats gross. Otherwise, I can only imagine how bad it would smell up in your mudroom. Also up in the mudroom, which I can't wait to get rid of this thing. So I've sold the Wi-Fi repeater, and I sold the microwave, and the next thing I want to get rid of is this baby. Whoa! Remember I did the review for Jackery? All right. The 500 watt lithium ion battery plus solar panel. Did the whole review. This is taking up space in the van now. I have 2 marine batteries. I do not need something that provides 500 watts in this van. I need something that provides 1500 watts in this van. So right now the Jackery and the solar panel that attaches to it, and it has the car charger and the wall plug I already showed you in that other video. Now it's just taking up space. I need to get rid of it. Somebody please, who's on the East Coast. It's a great, like, I really like lithium ion batteries. There's nothing wrong with it. You cannot add a lot of stuff in your van. So now this thing is in my way. So let's take care of that, huh? Otherwise, everything up here, I'm on almost 12,000 miles. The light for the next oil change has not gone on yet. I was told that the 5,000 mile rule is BS. You can go a lot further. It's not alerted. So we'll go through that fun of finding somewhere to do an oil change on a van that is this high again soon. Let's see, what else? No mold, no noise, no ceiling moisture, no wall cracks. Oh, and no ants. Again, in the summertime, a screen, and this one was 25 bucks. If you get one of those custom made one from ProMaster, it's 600. $25 screen. Those pictures you see on Instagram where they're like, reading. Everyone reads on Instagram. They're reading and they open up all the doors in the back and it's nighttime and you see the van lit up and the stars in the sky. It's a really beautiful photo. But what they don't tell you afterwards is that they spend the rest of the night killing mosquitoes in their van. You have got to get screens for your doors. If I turn on these lights at night in this van, it is just like a super highway of bugs. A lot of people said, not a lot of people, but some people said you have to put all your food in Tupperware in a van because ants will get in. I don't know where the hell you're staying or what the hell you're eating, but that has never happened. That sounds to me like you are living at a campground and leave the doors open long term and also leave food out on your counter. I've never had that issue. Everything is good up here. Let's go underneath to see if there's any updates. I will say one update in the wine cellar. Can we go any further into the wine cellar? At some point I said in one of my videos, that I brought too many clothes. All these clothes. I take that back. And here's why. If you only bring a few clothes, that means that you will be doing laundry all the time. Laundromats are fine. I've not really had any issues, but it's not a fun activity. So I would now I have purchased enough clothes to get me through to do laundry every 10 days. So like 2 t-shirts, a pair of jeans, and socks. Plus I work out every day, so I've got way more laundry than the average bear. But unless you want to spend every other couple days in a laundromat, bring enough clothes. The new inverter, the 1000 watt inverter, is working just fine. I've under here in the storage area in the wine cellar, I also have all my heavy duty code Pelican cases and all these big bolts and locks that I bought for when I was just starting out 6 months ago, and I was so afraid that everybody was going to rob me and try to kill me that I had all these big locks for everything. And now at this point that's all gone to the wayside. Not to say that I shouldn't still be doing it, but the level of fear has come down quite a lot. And that's important to say because I know that especially women, a lot of women are nervous about everything that's going to happen to them on the road. And as you've seen with my videos, bad stuff does happen, but you can't insure and plan for all of it, and you just gotta be able to think on your feet. All right, another thing that people said would happen that has not happened. Oh, do we remember when Captain Michael Hamby put the shore power plug here underneath the bumper, and people lost their mind? It broke the internet. People said that this was gonna get ripped off because it was so close to the ground, and someone was gonna knock it off, and he should have put it like, you know, here or like in the wall. Look how far down the van would have to hit the ground for that to rip off. It's been fine. If you don't feel comfortable drilling a hole inside your van to put in a shore power plug, I can tell you that 6 months, that has been just fine. It has not ripped off. In the back of the van, and this is kind of the storage area, and as we do the next couple videos, if no one makes an offer to buy it, I'm going to talk about different layout ideas. I spent a lot of energy building these covers to hide the back windows because I thought it was so important that I'd be able to take them off so that when I'm taking that Instagram photo of me reading up here, I'd have natural light. I have never once taken these off. Never once. So I'll probably in the next build just cover these up and put hooks or shelves here because I've never needed the back windows. The reason is, once the sun sets, if these are not covered, you can see right into the van. And during the daytime, I don't need them uncovered because I'm trying to keep heat out and because I'm not in here. Generator, still really use this. Ooh, it's gonna start raining hard on me. And then this is the last point I wanna make about just, you know, I mean, like, look how much crap I have in here. Like, I gotta get rid of stuff. This is my big feather bed, my like down comforter. And now it's in a trash bag because it's so hot that I don't need it. I'm gonna have to hop back in the van. It's raining. My grandmother Giggy always believed that no woman should ever live without a down comforter. And she's right. So I bought it. And when it was freezing cold, it was awesome because I was like toasty warm with this big fluffy blanket. The problem is that now I have this huge fluffy blanket and it's taken up all this space. So I will say, in retrospect, several thinner warm blankets would be a better choice to layer up because they can fold much more compactly, and then you can store them like up here in that little ledge that the ProMaster has. But big, you know, when I see people put decorations and like decorative pillows in a van, that you gotta know where to put them. So big fluffy blankets, big comforters, big anything, it's just gonna be in your way. So you don't need that. So smaller, thinner blankets are a girl's best friend. That said, you know, if I get to sleep in a house again for a little bit before the next van or the remodel is finished, ooh, I'll be right back up underneath that down comforter. The 7-gallon water tank that I installed in here, I have never needed more than 7 gallons of water. I've never completely run out. I see van builds where they're putting in like a 20-gallon tank. Every gallon of water is 8 pounds of weight. Oh my God, you're adding so much weight. So you just have to be really conservative. The days of you standing over a sink and like washing the dishes in hot soapy water, those are gone. Usually I'll like lightly rinse it off, lightly scrub it, lightly rinse it off, and when it's like kind of clean, then it's done. Yeah, sexy, huh? So what I do is when I go to the gym, I bring this with me, I fill it up, and then I refill this. So I'm never running out of water. Yes, it's a daily responsibility, it's kind of a chore, but I am not carrying a ton of water weight on this van. I've never needed more than the 7-gallon tank. I've also never run out of power, even with that shit show of the inverter blowing. The new inverter is great, I've not had any problems, but I have not run out of power. I have two 200 amp batteries. I'm still interested in getting a power upgrade to see if by some miracle I can run a kitchen appliance on a battery. I'm really interested in lithium ion batteries. But if you just have electronics and the truck fridge has been great, no issues, then the setup that I have in here is all that you need. And if you have any questions, just get up with Michael Hamby. He's heard from a lot of people all over the country who are trying to build a van, and think we all agree that that man knows what he's doing. And that's pretty much it. The only other thing that I had to add was that the front window of a van looks like a murder scene because just the way that a ProMaster is slanted. I've taken entire species of bugs off this planet. In the heat, they get melted onto the glass. So when you get your van, you tell whoever you bought it from to get that cheap blue crap, that windshield, the stuff that's 98 cents, get that out of there and put in the somewhat more expensive, it's like a pink bug shield fluid, and that will put kind of a film on your front windshield that keeps the little carcasses from sticking. Made all the difference in the world. Pink, not blue. Remember that. All right, I gotta get on the road. I am so excited to see Wilmington again. I'm so excited to see, I can't believe that 6 months ago I was scared to death with like rock bottom mental health, and 6 months later I am like in this amazing city teaching these incredible people how to tell stories, that we've got up to 25,000 subscribers. Oh, the places you will go. I can't imagine what we're going to be doing in another 6 months. Thank you so much, everybody, for sticking there with me. I know that there are a lot of van channels. I know there are a lot of storytellers. So it means a lot to me when I know that people are kind of cheering in the back for what I got going on here. All right, so I'm going to hop in the front seat, and I will talk to you all again soon.